Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video by yours truly. I am proud to announce that for today's content, we have Tribe 9 in the spotlight. And I want to give a huge shout out to their team for sponsoring this video and enabling me to bring it to your awareness. Listen, guys, this game caught me by surprise. I have been having one hell of a time with it. If you don't know already, Katsuki Games is the producer and the developer behind this game, and then Tukio Games is the team behind it in terms of the story concept, the music, and the character designs. The three individuals behind those elements I just mentioned are the same individuals that were behind Danganronpa, which if you have a huge appreciation or you're a fan of that series, you have to try Tribe 9. I'm serious, you have to. All of the elements are riddled in this game. You're gonna love it. Kodaka's an OG. The character design person is god tier. I love their aesthetic as well as the medium that they went for in this franchise. It's really poppy, it's vibrant, it's detailed. It's one of the best art styles I think I've seen in the entirety of the anime space. I know I'm glazing there, but it looks so good. I love the characters. They're very distinctive, very unique. Anyways, we're gonna go over all elements that you need to know about this game. How's the combat? How's the story presentation? How's the music? How's the exploration in the game as a whole? I do strive to be as insightful as I possibly can, especially for games that I actually genuinely enjoy. That's why I'm really happy that they sponsored it, because hey, I think I would have covered this regardless. So cheers. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. The first element I want to start off with is going to be story presentation. I'm gonna let you know right now, I'm gonna glaze quite hard because it was very impressive to me how they managed to pull off an amalgamation of an 8-bit pixelated graphic style where, you know, reminiscent and very nostalgic of the 90s turn-based games, early 2000 turn-based games. That kind of style mixed in with the modern day 3D animated shell-shaded character quality, top of the line quality, by the way, mixed in with dynamic camera transitions, great body expression or body language, and character expression. One of the elements in this space that is lacking significantly is you're trying to consume dialogue, but the characters are very stiff and the characters don't have any body language or very little. That is not the case in Tribe 9. These characters have top of the line expressions. Their like foreheads get really dark when they're trying to make a very serious or intense or psychotic expression or emotion. Their body language, they're moving around. They're not just standing still. They put a lot of effort into ensuring that you're able to have a better imaginative experience as you're consuming this story.
よかった。何回起こしても起きないからどうやって起こすか悩んでたんだよね。
なんで月が目の前にいるんだ。
どうかしたの？顔が真っ青だけど、もしかしてまだ体調が悪い感じ？
いや、その。
And to add on to that, the final piece of the puzzle that makes for a good story consumption experience is going to be the voice acting, which, by the way, I played in Japanese, so I didn't play in English. I can only attest to what I played in. It is 10 out of 10 voice acting. They hired the absolute best of the best pros. In fact, they probably hired the people from the anime series. Newsflash, if you didn't know, Tribe 9 is an anime. It came out in 2022, as well as the webtoon. So you can check that out if you want to, if you're interested. But yeah, getting back on topic, the voice acting is great. You can't tell that they're recording their voice lines. In fact, it sounds like they're all sitting in the same room, reading the lines back to one another in real time. The expression coming out of their voice as they deliver these lines, you can feel it's very impactful, it's very emotional. It feels like you're watching an anime, honestly. And so all of that said, great story presentation. Oh, and the last thing I want to bring up to end off the storytelling experience is going to be the music. I personally think the music is an absolute 10 out of 10 as well. Banger tracks. They set up the tone of the scenes they're trying to present. They set up the intensity of the scenes they're trying to present, or just completely like amplify certain settings. Sometimes they drown it out entirely just to introduce and soak in that silence for a particular moment that's getting ready to occur. Overall, I had a very pleasant experience with this game's storytelling. Now, I would like to talk to you guys about the combat. All right, so what are my thoughts on the combat? Well, first, let's explain to you what the combat is like and what the intricacies entail. At the right-hand side, at the lower half, you can see I have a primary attack, a secondary attack, a strategy skill, which is 3 different abilities. You also have a dash, and you can time it correctly to do a perfect dodge. I love perfect dodges in all games. And we also have a counterattack accessible to everyone as well, which again, when timed correctly, you perform a counterattack. I always love perfect dodges and counterattacks in combat games because it breeds motivation to learn the enemy's moveset, which usually creates a more immersive combat experience. So those are all pretty cool intricacies, but it doesn't stop there. We also have what's called a chain attack, which is attached to a element of their combat known as a break meter. Yep, enemies have a break meter. You can do enough break damage to eventually break their shield, and then this gives you access to what's called chain attacks. You run a 3-man party that enables you to do chain attacks with all 3 characters upon breaking their shields. So very cool system there. I like that. And then finally, the characters have ultimate moves. This is a bit difficult to explain because how do you get your ultimate move? Well, it's a new system exclusive to Tribe 9, and it's called the tension system. I actually kind of would like to draw a parallel here. I think it's kind of similar to a fighting game. If you look at the top right, you'll see I have a tension bar, which is 3 different bars in total to fill up. And then the enemy also has 3 different bars that they can fill up. This is the tension system. And once those 3 bars fill up, well, for the enemy, he starts going berserk mode, sicko mode, and he starts doing a lot more damage to you, and you might want to watch out and run away until his bar goes down. But for you, it actually enables you to use your ultimates of your characters. Each character has an ultimate cost, though. One of your character's ultimates might cost 2 of those meters. One of your ultimates might cost 3 of those meters. So you do want to make sure you're filling that tension meter up. And how do you fill it up? By literally counterattacking the enemy, by dodging attacks and countering. Like little details like that will fill that meter up, and then once it's up, you have access to those ultimates. So there's a lot of depth to its combat. In fact, I was impressed once I got off stream and I ended up learning all of these little details. Also, I'm fighting this boss. This was the first boss in the game. It was like a 7 out of 10 difficulty. This boss was nothing to scoff at, which is good. Because if there's no challenge in a game, then there's little motivation for me to want to learn the system. But thankfully, this game already proved to me with the very first boss that it's actually going to be quite challenging. And newsflash, they actually ended up nerfing the boss's difficulty because people were getting their butts clapped. Skill issue, my goodness. Also, finally, the one thing I want to point out is there's a stamina bar. You can see it on all of my characters. It's a red and orange color palette right next to the character. Cool thing about this is you're going to micromanage this bar because not only is your dodge and your counterattack attached to that stamina bar, but so are the character's abilities, their secondary attack, their strategy skill. So you want to make sure you're managing your abilities to ensure that you have enough stamina to pull them off, as well as dashing and counterattacking. I love restrictions like that because it creates a more meticulous combat experience. Ultimately, this game's got a lot of potential for combat. Now, I'm only played about 6-7 hours, so I got more to spend and really learn and delve into it, but I like what I'm seeing. I do. Now that you understand what that looks like, let's go into the build system next, because that's always going to be working in tandem with combat. We need a good build system to supplement that combat. Let's take a look at it. Okay, so this is going to be your user interface, which I'll go over that as best as I can, as well as the build system. But keep in mind, guys, we're still in the early stages. There might be some details I might be missing. But let's go ahead and get into it. First off, this is going to be where your skills are for every single character, neatly organized too. I like that they pretty much tell you, here's your primary attack, here's your secondary, here's this counter attack, and then you can go over to status detail, and it's neatly detailed to where you can see the break values of the characters so that you can know, oh, this character does a lot of break damage. And then the damage of the character, as well as whatever intricacies they may have exclusive to their kit, that's all in here neatly laid out. I really like that. Every character is going to have this setup too, where you look at their primary, their secondary attack, then you have their strategy skill, you have your ultimate, and then you have your chain skill, and it will tell you exactly what they can do, and if there's anything like unique to them, it will explain that. And then of course you have your status to explain how much damage they're going to do with their abilities. I love that. No complaints whatsoever. This is going to be in the next section after the combat and build system of this video, but this is pertaining to the extreme baseball gameplay that they have in this game. That's very innovative. Every character is also going to have an extreme baseball exclusive perk. Now, if you want to look at their stats, you can also see this. You'll probably learn things on accident, basically like, oh, movement speed, so I can move faster with my characters. Yeah, there's things in here that you'll see. Tension recharge, basically fill up the tension meter faster so you can have your ults. Yeah, there's a lot of cool little details they have in the UI that I can appreciate. Now, builds. If you come over here to this panel, which again, I'm in the early stages, so there could very well be another panel that unlocks. This panel wasn't here initially. It unlocked as I progressed through the game. So that's why I'm thinking that. But for now, this is pretty much your standard build system that you have, right? If you click on these pieces, they have 2-piece set effects, right? We're familiar with set effects. You get 2 of the same set, boom, you get your unique ability. But what was interesting to me was this game actually has build pieces that can give a substat that is literally only pertinent to a character. And they'll even put the character's pixelated icon there to let you know, oh, this is for that character. Case in point, this is for this guy. And it's called Roar of Outrage. If I were to go back out of here and click on this dude, I can actually go over to his ability, right? And Roar of Outrage. So I know if I were to put that skill on this dude, I would actually have an ability that's going to be enhanced. And what I really like, again, another UI compliment, you can click on the ability and it tells you increase action level of Roar of Outrage by 1. Beautiful. I love that type of organization and ability to know things, because the more information we can learn on the UI screen, the better the experience is for the player. Getting back to topic though, you can use this build system to pretty much tailor your character to whatever you want to tailor their prowess to. Obviously, you're going to build them to the best of their capabilities, their strong points, and that's pretty much how that works. Now, there's one other build system that ties into Tribe 9. Let's take a look at that. So if we click on this 3-person icon right here, it'll take us to our party, and this will bring us to the tension card system. Remember I told you that tension is basically your ultimate meter at the top? Well, there's a little bit more intricacies to it than that. There's these cards that you will acquire that I view kind of like a weapon system, pretty much. It's not the weapon system, but that's what I would coin it. And you can put up to 5 cards equipped for your party. And these cards all do exclusive things, like when a secondary attack is executed, increase the damage multiplier of the next strategy skill by 8.1%. And if this secondary attack is executed while you have Unity on, it's 2 times the effectiveness, right? Pretty much double that value. You can click on Unity and it'll tell you, oh, hey, you just get defense increased by 5%. If one party member is knocked out, this effect is removed. So as long as you have all your party members alive, you're going to gain that effect. Every single one of these cards is going to do something, and it's your job. Obviously, it's up to you and your creative process of cooking to decide what cards you want to put on the team that brings out that team's performance. That's pretty much the attention system. There's a lot of these different cards that do different things, right? Like if I click on this one, when the operating character executes perfect dodge or perfect evasion successfully, the flow of time in the surrounding area will slow down for 0.9 seconds. There's a lot of cooking in this game, which you can use to your advantage to come up with a team strategy. And I love those type of things. For now, that's all I've learned about their build complexity, but it's definitely present and intact. Now, I want to move on to their extreme baseball system. Okay, so this extreme baseball mode is probably one of the most unique gameplay modes I've ever seen. For me in particular, I only got to play one of the modes. I think in the future it's going to be much more strategy induced, but for the first time they do a bit of hand holding and teaching you like the ins and outs of the mode. Basically what it revolves around though is you're playing a baseball match, but it's like anime baseball. You know what I mean? Like you're not playing inside of a stadium. You're using the whole city as a stadium. You're going up against villains and stakes are high. You can use friends and teammates can lose their lives if you lose this game of baseball. And the way that it works is you pretty much just have your team of individuals and you're like having a bit of a psychology like debate off. He's asking you questions, and depending on the way you answer these questions, it can affect the trajectory of whether you're going to hit the ball or not. And you hit the ball, it won't go as far, or maybe it'll go really far. It is very much a gameplay mode. There's a tension meter up there too. If you fill the tension meter up high, then you get like more increased efficacy of your baseball performance with your characters. Also, do you guys remember when I told y'all that inside of the UI, the user interface, when you're building characters and looking at their abilities, everyone has an exclusive extreme baseball ability. And maybe that baseball ability will say, oh, she throws a wicked curveball that enables the team to guarantee a miss. All right, the enemy won't be able to hit it. It's a strike, guaranteed. Or the other guy, when he hits the ball, he has a chance to get a guaranteed home run. there's actually intricacies pertaining to this particular mode, which is crazy. It's a hook I've never seen before. But my personal enjoyment of this mode was just watching the cinema. It's absolute cinema. They got dynamic camera quality, angles, transitions, intense moment, banger music, and you will quite literally see some cutscenes of people like booking it, trying to get to a base or getting beat up by the villain. It was a more cinema experience than a gameplay experience for me, but I don't know if that's because that was the first introduction to the mode. Because I feel like down the line, intuitively speaking, like I said, it's going to be more strategy based with the cinema cutscenes. And if you don't do anything correctly, you're just going to lose the match and have to do it over again. That's what intuition tells me. But overall, this was very fun to watch. I was making my choices and stuff, but it was really more so fun to watch than anything else. The last thing I want to wrap up with is how's the experience of just like exploring, roaming around. Guys, the 8 pixelated bit graphics of that nostalgia of the 1990s and early 2000s turn-based games that I was telling y'all about. Oh, it's so good. They did such a good job with the world building as well. It's very detailed. There's a lot of little puzzles to do around a game that aren't overly complicated, just a way to keep you immersed. There's also graffiti that you have to discover that'll give you good currency to make certain wishes. The music is busting in every single area, and it's just overall a really good time. Like I said before, I'm very impressed with that amalgamation of the 8-bit experience mixed in with the 3D animated cel shaded graphics and stuff. I highly recommend that you guys give this game a download and a try. In fact, they're doing a free skin right now that's available for a limited time, and you can get it if you just log in using my code down below in the description box or the pinned comment in the comment section. Download Tribe 9, give it a chance, you won't regret it. That's gonna wrap up this video. I had a lot of fun making it, and those were my genuine feelings. I'm gonna play the hell out of this game. Huge shout out to the Tribe 9 team for sponsoring this video. Once again, thank you, thank you, thank you. This is gonna wrap it up. Peace, love, and happiness, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side.